I just got back from my first Virgin Voyages cruise and it was amazing. So I thought I'd put a little video about a few of my thoughts. I heard a lot of good things about it, and yeah, it's all that and then some. I'll be talking about several things on the cruise, so feel free to skip ahead to the part that you wanted more information about. I'm going to start with the boarding process, and man, is this smooth. I've been on 5 Carnival cruises beforehand, and this hands down was the easiest compared to them. Virgin Voyages is very strict about the arrival time they give you is a time that you actually board. For example, my boarding time was 2:15. If I arrive at 1 o'clock, we'll have to stand in line and wait to our boarding time. They do offer a free shuttle to Bayside, which is what we did. We got there early, around 10 o'clock, dropped off our luggage with the Virgin people. We took the free shuttle to Bayside, went there and relaxed for a little bit, took the shuttle back, again, free shuttle, to get there about 2:10ish, and the time came when it 2:15, they let us right on in. And it was smooth. If there wasn't an issue with my wife's profile, we would walk straight on board, but we had to spend a few extra minutes getting that sorted out. And I did try to use the app and book my activities on board in the terminal, but it actually wouldn't let me do that until I actually got on the ship. Again, we are one of the first boarding times, so maybe something along the lines of that. So be sure to book our activities the moment you get aboard. They do sell out quickly. The same thing was getting off the ship. It was super smooth as well. Virgin Voyages requires you to have a passport. You had to upload it, take a picture of it. They already have our information, so when you get off the ship, all you do is make sure you have a little bracelet. They'll scan that to get off the actual ship. And when you get through customs, they'll take a photo. They have some facial recognition system, and if it recognizes you, you're good to go. You go on out. Simple as that. I'm sure there's some issues. You'll stop there, but I mean, my wife literally basically just walked off the ship. It was so smooth, so simple. I'm not sure if that's how cruises are nowadays or that's something Virgin is pioneering. I found out soon because in a few days I'm going on a Carnival cruise, and I'll let y'all know how that process is when we compare the two. I do know though, I flew out in January to Sandals, and their process wasn't that smooth. We took a very long time at the airport, so either it's something the cruise line is doing or Virgin is pioneering. I don't know. We'll find out soon. The entertainment, again, amazing. The only thing I don't like about Virgin Voyages entertainment is they don't have enough shows. If you compare to what Carnival offers compared to what Virgin has, Carnival has a lot more shows than Virgin Voyages. But the shows that Virgin Voyages do have, they are amazing. So I recommend seeing as many shows as you can. We saw the Duo Reality, and by far, it's the best show I've seen at any cruise ship, any cruise line that I've been on so far. It's more of a, I don't want to give away too much of it, but it is a Romeo and Juliet meets West Side Story with an acrobatic twist. Just imagine all that. It's amazing. It had me gasping several times, multiple times. They are just very talented people. I only saw a few shows. I wish I could have seen more, but there was a lot to do on a 5-day cruise. It was my first time Virgin Voyages. There's so much I wanted to try and go to as many shows as you can. And I'll talk about some of the pop-up shows that happened a little bit later, mostly on Scarlet Night. Now to my favorite part, the food. I love food, and food is very subjective, so you may have a different opinion on me, and if you do, as I go on these venues, let me know if you have a different opinion or how your experience was. Virgin Voyages does dining a little bit differently. Most cruise lines, like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, they have a main dining halls where you have dinner. You don't have to have dinner there, but they have a few big dining halls, and that's where everyone goes to have dinner. And their menu changes every night. Versus Virgin Voyages, they have not one big dining hall. They have a bunch of little dining halls, and you get to book each one in advance, figure out which you want to go. So you have different kind of food every single night. You can book these 45 days before you cruise, 60 if you're a suite guest. But the moment these open up for booking, book them. I stood up. I was able to get mine booked, but I heard people who didn't do it as quickly, maybe waited a few days. A lot of the dining times were taken already. So keep that in mind. But these smaller dining halls were amazing. I won't start with dinner, day by day, what we did, then I'll move into some of the other food categories they did. So on day 1, we did Gumbae. This is a Korean barbecue place. If you don't know what Gumbae means, it means cheers. And that's how we started off the day. You are sat with a group of people, so experience may vary. But we had a pretty good group of people. We got there. First thing we did was start with the drinking game. I let that one be a surprise for y'all, but it's a lot of fun. So we got to know the people that we're with. We got to pick what we wanted for dinner. And you have as much as you want. You pick your meats. They cook it right there in front of you. If you want more, just say so. You can get more. Personally, to me, this was my number one dining experience aboard the Scarlet Lady when it comes to the atmosphere, the fun of it, the interaction with other people. This was number one for that. The short rib was the star of the meal there. So be sure to get the short rib. Day 2, we did test kitchen. This would be great for the people who like the chef's table on Royal Caribbean, Carnival, etc. That's basically what it is. You have a 6-course meal, all very small portions, very experimental food. So the chef table on other cruise lines are delicious. They're a little more safer bets when it comes to fancy food, versus the test kitchen is a little further out most people's comfort zone. So do keep that in mind. If you're not very open to trying new foods, this may not be the best for you. Personally, I enjoyed it, but then again, I would like to try just about anything one time at least. This is a 2-hour experience, so keep that in mind. And for us, ours actually took 2.5 hours. I don't know what happened. It went a little long, but it was delicious. And we actually tried it with a cocktail pairing, so that was just amazing. But because it was a small portion and ours did take longer, about 30 minutes later, we were hungry. We actually had a second dinner at Pink Agave. And let me tell you about Pink Agave. We actually had this on day 3, so we actually had this twice in a row. And that's why I said there. I said we had dinner on day 2 at the test kitchen, and then we had a second dinner at Pink Agave. Yes, you could do that. You could stand by in any of these restaurants and say, hey, I don't have a reservation yet. You could go and have it again and again and again. You just got put on the wait list. Sometimes there's no wait on the wait list. Sometimes there is a wait on the wait list. You just find out when you get there. So Pink Agave is more of a Latin food place. And me being Mexican, when you say something like that, you put a little twist on it, I'm a little skeptical. Yes, I know every Latin country has their own little flavors, but I was kind of scared what I'm going to expect from a cruise line. So when we had this on day 2 as our second dinner, I was blown away. I was impressed. I loved the food. It was delicious. So when day 3 came around, I'm thinking, well, was Pink Agave really that good? Or were my expectations so low of Pink Agave that it actually blew me away and I loved it just by comparison. In day 3, I went with high expectations and it still blew those clear out the water. I can't tell you how good this is. It's delicious. They have meals ranging from a small plate, medium to large. So don't feel bad if you order several things on the menu. And the server, they'll tell you about what the size of dishes are so you kind of gauge. So that way you don't over-order. But if you're under order, no big deal. You can just order more. We tried everything there, right? Both the nights. And easily my favorite place to eat dinner at Virgin Voyages. This is the one I thought I was going to like the least. It turns out it was my favorite. So that says a lot. So, I mean, their food was very amazing. We tried all the desserts. It was a magnificent time. Definitely try Pink Agave. Next time, I'm probably going to have it 2-3 times just because it was that good. And the next time, I'm not going to 5-day cruise with Virgin. I'm going to 7 at least. Day 4, we did the Wake. The Wake is a steakhouse, so of course I had to have a steak because it's a steakhouse. It was delicious steak. Also, I had the clam chowder and the bone marrow as an appetizer. All of this was amazing. And so far, all the other dining experiences that I mentioned were in a group setting. So Pink Agave, yes, you can sit by yourself, but it's designed to be close to other people. So it's easy to spark up conversation. So we actually talked to another group of people. Pink Agave, Gumbae, you sit with other people. So we talked to other people. Test kitchen, we sat next to other people. We didn't really talk to anyone there because we're kind of doing our own thing. But you do have the option versus at the Wake in the next place I'm going to mention, Extra Virgin, it's more of a private dining area. So a little more romantic, more one-on-one feel. So keep that in mind when choosing dining halls as well. I definitely recommend the Wake if you're trying to have a more of a private dinner. Day 5, we tried Extra Virgin. And at this point in the video, you're probably saying, I think every single place is amazing. Well, this is where I had my first letdown. We had the Italian restaurant, so guess again, high expectations for Italian place. The food wasn't necessarily bad. It just wasn't amazing either. The atmosphere was on point. The presentation was on point. It's just the food to me was just good. It wasn't fantastic. So again, nothing wrong with it, but I would definitely come back here just for their truffle gnocchi. That was a highlight. If I had to choose one meal on the ship that was the best, maybe not the best, but is definitely top 5, is that truffle gnocchi. It is amazing. It was so good we went home and we tried to recreate it at home. Not as good as the Extra Virgin, but still, something about the truffle gnocchi. I could go back. I want it now. Because now for the lunch and breakfast places that we had. The first one is the Razzle Dazzle. And this is a vegan place. And personally, again, food is subjective. For me, it was liking the Razzle and the Dazzle. It did not do either of those to me. There was one item on the menu that was delicious. Besides that, everything to me was dry. Again, maybe the gluten-free and the vegan side of it kind of just, I don't know. I'll move on. Maybe great for dinner. I want to try for dinner one day. Maybe the dinner is a redeeming feature, but the lunch, no thank you. Now for breakfast, I had both these next two places twice for breakfast just because it was so darn delicious. The wake, its ties with the next place I had, but they had soft shell Benedicts. I love a good Benedict. I love salmon Benedict. They didn't have that, so I was kind of sad. They have a soft shell crab Benedict, and that by far exceeds my expectations. I had it the last 2 days of the cruise for breakfast because it was just that amazing. The rest of the places are in the galley area. So it's kind of like the version of a buffet, but not really a buffet because you still sit down and order your food. But you can order as much as you want. They bring it to you, but it was delicious. We had Let's Taco about it. And me being a Mexican, I love chorizo. So when they had chorizo on the menu, I was kind of skeptical, but I couldn't resist not ordering it. So I had ordered it, and it, again, exceeded my expectations. I had it the 2 days in a row, and even the second day I had it, I ordered 2 plates of just that. The chorizo burrito, it was just that amazing. So let's talk about it. And the Wake had the best 2 breakfast places on the ship by far. The sweet station, I mean, that has a bunch of sweets. It's self-explanatory. I have some videos up, some pictures of it. It's just so many sweets. And speaking of sweets, there's a place called Lake Me To Ice Cream. Definitely have that. They have great ice cream there and a very creative name. All these places have very creative names, so I give Virgin props for that. There are several places open late at night. We went to the pizza place, which we had again several times. Another one of their great places. We had the truffle pizza. We had one of every type of pizza. I'll have a list on screen somewhere. Only open till 2 a.m. though. That's my only problem with that is it should be 24/7 like on Carnival and other cruise lines, but it's only open to 2 a.m. The only fault on that because they have some amazing pizza. So Virgin, open it a little bit longer. We like the late night pizza and it was delicious. Just more time, please. The parties were amazing. Carnival is known as the fun ship. So these parties have a big hurdle to go through. And man, they didn't disappoint. Their parties better than Carnival. I love you, Carnival. I'll go on you many times again, Carnival. But Virgin, they got some things a little bit better than you. And vice versa. There's some things Carnival does better than Virgin. But again, this is kind of what I'm going to review. We can compare them and see what's best for you. So every night there's a big old party that happens. And the first night is the pajama party, the PJ party. You come in your PJs. Well, how do we get there? We actually start off with the grog walk, which is a bar crawl. So you go to 4 bars, and each bar you have to do a little challenge, a little fun to get your drink. So I enjoyed it. So I'm an introvert. I know when I was getting into those, so it was a lot of fun. The last bar we ended up was at the party location, and it was a lot of fun. So you get up there, people are already in their PJs, and you see everything from comfortable to sexy. So if you don't know what you want to wear to the PJ party, literally whatever you're comfortable with. If you want to be a little risque, go for it. If you want to be comfy, like me, do it. It's a lot of fun. And the music here was a good from Gen X through millennials, a good wide range of music for everyone. So I loved it. And these parties go on all night long. I think it was like 2 a.m.-ish. We would call it a night, and it was still going on. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun. The party on night 2 was Heartbeat. And this one, I feel like it was targeted straight to millennials. It was pretty much every music that I love personally. And that's pretty much all they played. Not much newer, not much older, maybe a song or two there. But it's basically the millennials playlist. Night 3 was Boomvang. And this is night, I forgot what we were doing, but we didn't make it to this one. It was a techno, so I'm not sure if it was a more of a older techno or more modern techno. But I don't know. So we didn't make it to that one. I don't know what happened. I think we partied too hard the 2 nights before, and we just couldn't make that one. We just called it an early night. And as I'm saying that, I now remember why we called it early night that night. Because next day was Scarlet Night. And we want to make sure we're well rested for that. Because that's the big party. And it was absolutely amazing. This is advertised as Virgin Voyages' biggest party at the sea. And that's what it was. At 8:30, all the lights turned to a red hue, signifying that it's almost time for Scarlet Night. And at 9 o'clock, we were at the roundabout. And that's when Scarlet Night got kicked off. There's a big old show on the roundabout. You're kind of going all up over the place. Dancing is getting the night started. And from there, pretty much every 30 minutes or so, there was a show going on somewhere on the ship. You see those performers go from one side of the ship and they'll take off. You don't know where they went. But a little bit later, another set will pop up in front of you and they'll start doing their thing there. We kind of say the roundabout. So deck 6 and 7, we kept going between the two because sometimes the show will be on the stairs, above their stairs, or be on deck 6 right before the stairs. So kind of a mix. So we kind of just hung around there. But the whole ship turned to a party. The place where the coffee is at, If you go there, there was a dance party going there nonstop, starting at 9 o'clock. So different parts of the ships were being taken over by this party. And the last performance, the performers will say, come on up, we're going to the top deck, follow us to the pool. And everyone started gathering for the pool party for Scarlet Night. And the performance was amazing. They will push you back a little bit to give them a little space because they will be doing some performances at the pool, on the edge of the pool, in the pool. And the atmosphere was amazing. A good variety of music. The DJ was amazing. So I feel like all ages aboard had something for them. And they'll make it very clear when it's time for you to join them in the pool. Because yes, you get to go in the pool too. So after they finish doing their stunts, they'll say, okay, join us in the pool. It'll be a very big announcement. And that's what I did. I went to the pool. At first, I just danced in the shallow area just because it was very crowded. And I danced my way to the pool. I was going to try to jump in the pool, but it was just too crowded. The performers were still dancing. Other people were there. So I kind of just danced and shimmied on my way to the deep end. But at some point, there was a Scarlet Night after party. And because I was already soaking wet from head to toe, I had to go get changed before I get back down there. So definitely, if you're planning to jump into the pool, bring 2 outfits for Scarlet Night. If you're only going to get your feet wet, make sure you have a shorter dress on or shorter pants. So that way you don't get soaking wet before the after party. Or bring a second pair of clothes. 9/5 was a disco party. And it just says that. It's a disco party. And they had a little show before the party started. The people who did duo reality, they were also performing here. It was a little 15-minute show before the party got started. And it was getting a lot of fun. It did have a rising and lowering stage, just like a few nights before. And people were dancing on that risen part of the stage. And at some point, they dropped it down. And now they invite you to come join them and dance with them. So Virgin has a great way of getting the party started and getting you involved. I loved it. What's different with Virgin, some things I liked that was different, aside from everything I've already mentioned already, is it doesn't feel crowded on a Virgin cruise. I've been on many Carnival cruises, and it always felt crowded. Even when it was not at max capacity. On a Virgin Voyages cruise, we on a sold out cruise. Versus I've been on Carnival cruises that weren't sold out, maybe 70%, and it still felt a little crowded. Then again, that's probably the advantage of having an adults only cruise, because these cabins are not being filled up with little kids. They're mostly adults, so maybe you have 2-3 people going. You don't have all these max capacity cabins with 4 or 5 people in them. Yes, you do have some of those in Virgin, but nowhere near as many. So I think that makes it feel a lot less crowded. So I love the fact for that. You can truly relax if you wanted to. And this ship is meant to be a social ship. So the seating areas are meant for a lot of people. I'll kind of have some videos above so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But still, if you wanted to keep to yourself in private, people didn't really bother you if you didn't want them. But if you spoke to people, man, they're all about socializing. It was a lot of fun. But if you wanted to get away, you truly could. The announcements were non-existent. I know on Carnival, you get announcements several times a day. On MSC, you get announcements several times a day in several languages each time. Versus Virgin Voyages, after you did your safety briefing, they announced that they're leaving port, and that's it. They're like, hey, it's the last announcement we're going to make. If you hear me make another announcement, pay attention, because you're not going to get another one to get back. Because if when we do make one before we get back to this port, something's wrong. And at that point, I didn't hear a single announcement afterwards. It was nice. Like, okay, yeah, we know everyone here are adults. Everyone knows how to look at the schedule, figure out what you want to do it. We trust you. Have fun. If you have questions, you know where to find us. And I loved that because I didn't hear a single announcement after that. And so we say, hey, okay, we have aborted our port. We have 30 minutes to get off the ship. So just whatever you do, just make sure to wrap it up before 30 minutes. That's the last announcement I heard. Heard a few at the very beginning, in day one, as soon as we left the port. Next announcement was, hey, all of y'all say ship in the next 30 minutes. Another thing you would see is they have a lot more activities that have a charge to them, which was off-putting at first. And I wish they had some more free activities, but the extra charge is because they serve alcohol in them. So we did a whiskey tasting one, which was a lot of fun. We had tried several types of whiskey, got to learn more about it. And the money we paid for the whiskey tasting, we got that towards credit to the alcohol on board. So we spent $40 for this whiskey tasting. And guess what? In their own little alcohol shop there, we got to spend $40 on alcohol. So we bought ourselves a few bottles, and those bottles are very good priced. And about half the price of what I get back in Texas. So it was a really good deal. At Carnival, they sell alcohol aboard, but it's overpriced or about the same price you get at home, depending on how you buy it. But on Virgin, it was cheaper. So yes, next one I know, bring more money for alcohol to take back home. We also played the Millennial Lotteria, and we had a bunch of drinks there. They were very generous. So yes, it did cost money, but it was worth the money and alcohol alone. So yes, I would definitely do it again. But if you're a drinker, make sure you have a few extra bucks for those activities. If you're not, they still do have some free activities, just not as much as I like. But it's definitely a true party ship to where their parties are open very late at night. The mornings are a little relaxed. They have a few yoga classes, a few workout classes, but their activities very light in the morning and gets heavier throughout the day. Because I anticipate people are probably hungover the night before from all that partying, which they're not wrong. But people were so respectful from here. So I like that atmosphere. They're very good at creating this atmosphere of friendliness, party, fun, all in one big package. I loved it. If you're looking to learn more about Bimini and some of the other ports I visited, that'll be in a different video because this one's already running a little long. So I will see y'all next time and have fun on your next cruise.